So the work that Aarti has decided to take is a very difficult one. कौन कहता है कि इश्क में दीवाने बोलते नहीं? अगर इश्क जानवरों से हो जाए तो कौन कहता है कि जानवर बोलते नहीं?
वाह वाह वाह, very nice.
So over to the next speaker, Aarti Desai. Aarti is someone I have traveled with, lived with practically, and she's somebody who is very, very soft, very beautiful soul. I mean, everyone is a beautiful soul. I just have had more experience because I've spent a lot of time with her. And I'm really, really happy that she's going to be talking on a subject that's very difficult for people to understand. So the topic is about animals and communication with animals. Most of us think that that's just not possible, that's mumbo jumbo. And for me, somebody who has never been in the field of animals, for me to understand this was very, very tough. That, you know, animals can also speak. But let me tell you, I did not get introduced to animals just by Aarti. Aarti, my journey with animals actually began in Carl Dawson's session. So I've been fighting my fear for dogs and animals for a very long time. So I was in Stanford, not Stanford, was it Stanford University at that time. I was in one of the places in UK, not Stanford University, where Carl Dawson was doing a workshop. I reached there and I met someone who was talking to the animals. This is way back in 2008, 2009. And I was radiated towards, I just wanted to kind of understand more about her, but every time she came close to me, I would say, keep the animals away, keep everyone away from me. I couldn't make sense of it. And then it was as if you came in my life to bring that whole program again in my life. And I don't know, I have a feeling that someday I'll be sitting down and doing big work in this field. Over to you, Aarti. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the speaker on such an amazing topic. Thank you. Your time starts now. You have 30 minutes. Go ahead. Make the best of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Anu. I think everyone can hear me. It's clear?
Why is it only that my...
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to be speaking today about animal communication. We all know there are many ways animals are communicating with us. Those who have pets with us, we know there is one way of animal communicating when we are reading their body language. That is one way the animal is communicating with us. But today I'm not going to be speaking about the body language, but what's going on in their mind actually. So animals can speak and tell us what exactly they are feeling. Body language is something which I am making out with the clues that he's giving me from his body. But when I'm speaking about the communication that I am talking about, it's communicating what's going on in their mind, what they're actually feeling. So when at a certain point, the dog or the cat or any animal can show fear. But why is that fear? What has happened in that animal's life that the fear has come? So what I'm talking about is telepathic communication, where I don't even need to see the animal or be with the animal. I just need some basic information and telepathically connect. We all have been telepathically connected with each other. There's so many times that we think of a person and the person calls us, or we think of something and something happens. We are telepathically connecting to that vibration, basically, to that network. So it's basically connecting to that frequency. It's like a radio frequency. that we speak to the animal, we open our channels, we have a sensory inputs through which we get information, and animals are very visual. So they're very visual in showing what is happening with them. And if my that sensory is open, they can show, they can make me smell, they can make me taste, they can make me feel. So all our senses is participating when we are connecting to an animal telepathically. Now what happens and how does this happen? There is a whole process how we connect with animals. First of all, is most important thing is to be very grounded, because animals are grounded. Second thing, if they are in a chaos, we have to make sure that we are grounded and we are a hollow bone. As humans, we have a mind and we try to come into conclusions very fast. We even judge animals. If the animal is behaving in a certain manner, we judge and we label the animal as aggressive. But through animal communication, we come to know what actually is happening or happened to the animal, so that we can improve his life and we can improve our life. When we have pets in our houses and they are aggressive and we label them as aggressive dogs or aggressive cats, we are not understanding the reason why they are behaving aggressive. So my role comes there, wherein my job as an animal communicator or anyone else who is into communicating with animals, even if they're not professionally gone into any kind of training, it's most important to come to that center state where you are not judging, you are not using your pre-notions that you have about animals or about dog or about anything. You have to come from a space of being completely empty, because that's when you will be able to hear what he is saying. Because if you are going to have your own judgments, your own filters, then you're not hearing what he's saying. The other thing important in animal communication is, when speaking to animals, is connecting and understanding his behavior. Many animals go through trauma. We have a lot of rescue and we pick up animals in the stray. A lot in India, if you see, or even internationally, see many times people pick up animals or pets as a status symbol. At that point of time, we are not giving the due respect to that animal, what it actually needs. The actual essence of an animal, why he's coming into our life, is much more. Our animal will not come into our life just like that. There is something from the soul level that is missing in your life, that the animal is coming to complete, basically. Unconditional love is just one of it, but there can be many, many, many soul reasons because of which an animal enters into your life. It could be creating that space for you where you are not being able to see what you are doing. You might be doing certain things which really you might be ignoring certain things. So I will give you a case study about one animal communication which I got, which was challenging at one time, because lost cases are challenging, basically. So it was a case of an animal who went missing. So the owner got in touch with me and asked me that this cat is gone missing of mine, and she was obviously completely devastated and everything. In that case, when I communicated with the cat, he said, I have ran away from home and I do not wish to come back. On asking him what, he did mention about a lot of things that the human is doing about his life, which is not right. And just to teach the human a lesson, so the human gets centered, the animal chose to run away. And it's only and only when the animal said that only and only when she decides to work on herself will I come back. Obviously, the owner was quite taken back, but at the same time, she took the responsibility of making those changes. The cat said that I will come back, but I'll come back when I want to. She needs to make changes, and she did make changes. The cat said, I will come back after some time. I am enjoying myself outside. I'm exploring the world outside. And I will come back when I want to. And the day I choose to come back, I will knock on your door. You need to just open your door and I will come, and don't ask me questions. Exactly after 1 month, she gave me a call all of a sudden late in the night, and I was like, what happened to this woman now? And she told me her cat is back, and he had lost weight, he had hurt himself, but he just went to sleep. And she's saying, ask him now why has he come back, like, is he fine, and blah blah blah. And he just told me, I told them not to ask me this question way before. Now I have come back, now they have a problem. I went away, they had a problem. So he had an attitude. But anyways, the cat came back, and then the other story continued. He came back, he was fine. There were other cats in the house. He started telling the other cats, the world outside is amazing. Why don't you all go out and see? So the other cats started going missing one by one. Or what he was doing, he wanted the attention completely of the owner to himself. So he started instigating the other cats to run, and there was a total chaos for some time till we spoke to him and told him not to do this. And then things kind of shifted. But this is how they communicated. This is how they speak, like how I am speaking to you, or how I am speaking to a friend. That's how they speak to us. Now, under what circumstances do we speak to animals? We can speak to them anything and everything. One, when the animal is traumatized, something has happened with him, his behavior is not normal, you're rescuing animals, they have a past they're coming with. Or if you're taking them to the vet, if I take you to a doctor and put you in the table and tell the doctor, now operate this one, how are you going to feel? We need to prepare our animals if we are going and taking them to our process where we are going to go and sterilize them. We need to ask them, or tell them that we are going to be doing this process, and this is the reason we are doing this process on you. Many times, specifically in male cats, they hate to be snipped. They have told me that I have lost my manhood. Why didn't you even ask me? So as humans, there are certain things that we are doing. It would be nice through an animal communication if we know what the animal is feeling, what he wants, what he doesn't want. Then there are medical issues. They actually tell you what's going on with their body. So nowadays we do have a lot of things with the vet. They diagnose it wrong because obviously the animals are not able to speak in a language that we are speaking. So what happens, the vet is not able to understand the physical issues that's going on, or whether the physical issue is connected to a mental issue, a mental problem, or an environmental problem. Thanks to Meta Health, we can now kind of work it much more beautifully. So if animal communication, Meta Health, there's another form of communication which you're coming to know actually through the diseases of the body. So that is also actually a form of communication now for me. So that adds value to the work that I'm doing. Then there are animals that are put to sleep. And that is a time when we speak to the animal and ask him whether the owner is taking this decision as in it's okay with him, or is he going to choose to leave his body on its own. We need to understand we have to give them the choice. If they have a choice, if we have a choice to make, they also have a choice to make. And there are times when they're okay with the owner to take a choice, but there are times they are not okay. And I have seen many cases in which I've communicated where the owners are thinking of giving up, and the pet actually says no and says, I will drop the body when I want to. And within a week's time, the body is dropped. Or there are times they recover. So we need to really, really respect that factor and start understanding what the pet, what the animal actually wants. The other thing is, if families are going through separations, divorces, or any kind of such things, the animals are actually coming and telling us the stories, what's happening inside the houses. And that is the time they say to the humans certain things, certain messages they give to the humans, so that the human is able to understand and get a different perspective and understand where he is going in his relationship. I know everyone must be shocked that how can animals say these things, but there are certain things the animal tell us, literally the secrets of certain families, and then we have to be really sure that how do we put it across to the owner. But my role as an animal communicator then becomes to share the information exactly the way it is shared to me. I am just a transmitter of information. It is just like a telephone is just giving the information. It's not asking whether it's a good information or bad information. The telephone has to give the information, has to pass the information from A to B. So that's where the animal communication comes in help. There are many ways when there is behavior problems going on, when there is lost case is where certain animals actually get lost. So let me give you another example of a lost case where a person gave me a call and told me my dog is missing, and it just slipped out of the house. And when she came to know about me, she's saying, but my husband doesn't believe in animal communication. He thinks I've gone mad. So I said, okay, if that's the case, then you decide what you have to do. And she said, but I want to go with my gut feeling and let me go with the communication. The dog literally showed me he is within the house, within about not even 5 minutes away from the house. And he is near some plants where he is actually literally on mud and someone is watering the plant. And that is the time I told her, just go to this direction and just see if you find something where someone is watering the plant, because he gave me the smell of wet mud. And that is the time she called me up like in 10 minutes and she said, we found him. He was in a bungalow where an old man was watering the plant and he was full with mud. He was sleeping on mud. And she came personally to meet me. I do not meet these people. They go and do the search as per the clues what the animal is sharing. And we found the dog, and she came to meet me because she just wanted to thank me. Her husband came to meet me because they did not believe in something like this. They do not believe that animals can speak or they have something to share. So that's one kind of communication. The other communication we do is with pets who have crossed over, pets who have died. When there are many times people don't get a closure, it just helps them to give a closure. My journey started into animal communication for me losing my first pet, and I wanted to communicate with her. I wanted to speak to her, and that's where my research and my journey started. And it has taken me to this place today. That's become my passion and my love. So it's her guidance that I feel I get always to continue with this work. So animals can communicate. Now I'll tell you in a medical way how we have helped animals, how animals can be helped with animal communication is through a case which I had got of a dog where pugs basically have a breathing issue. So this dog had a breathing issue where he started reverse breathing. And that time when she got in touch with me, we did an animal communication, and he said there is something between his nose, and he could only show me there is something like a boil or something that is there. The vet said we cannot do anything because if they do anything, then there will be a case where we are not sure he'll come back to life. And then we did a sound healing session with him, 2 sound healing session. He sneezed with the blood coming out from his nose, and there was no reverse breathing. So animal communication helps to have a better relationship with your animal. It helps you to decide, and main important, it helps you to decide what you need to do for your pet. We have to understand animals are sentiment beings. They feel emotions exactly the way we are feeling. They feel fear, they go through trauma, they go through diseases. There are things they like, there are things they don't like. There are animals who don't like to be touched. We force ourselves on our animals. We like to, they're cute, so we like to cuddle them and everything. But we have to also be mindful that if a personality of an animal is something that he doesn't like to be touched, which we usually come to know in an animal communication, like when you see me, you come to know what my personality is to some level. You gauge my energy. The same way there is an energy with the animal gives out and says that I am a timid dog, I am a shy dog. And some of the dogs are very talkative. So they will say, I'm very talkative. And they will be jumping literally to speak. So I have deal with one case where there are 2 pugs, and if I don't speak to the first one, the first one gets angry first. I need to speak to the second one, then the second one gets angry. So I have to, kind of balance it out. So it's like they are like small kids, basically, in some cases. In some cases, they do not like to be treated as kids and they like to be treated as adults. Animals have also told me about things that is beyond entity issues kind of things in the house, which I never believed in, but the animals have shown me such cases and they have kind of changed my entire perspective of this. So this is the gist of what animal communication is, how animals are speaking. All you need to do is connect from your heart. Even if you are not an animal communicator, we all are actually communicating to animals. They are communicating to us. It's all that we have to do is listen. If you don't even read the body language, but if you look into them and connect from your heart, they will respond, because all that they need is same exactly like us. They need love and acceptance. So I'm open to then questions if anyone wants to ask, and that's all I want to say about animal communication. Thank you, Anu.
Wow, that was magical. All three of you were so brilliant. I'm so happy we did it like this. The crunchy three. Okay, so let's break in for questions. Guys, put your questions down. What I'm going to do is, if we can, I don't know whether I should disconnect and put the questions separately or put it here. What do you guys say? Put it here, put it separately?
Separately, you can end the recording.
Yeah, thank you.